Hey everyone, my very first video here, but wanted to do a quick review of the Onetigris Cozshack, Cozy Shack. I prefer it called Cozy Shack because it does get rather cozy inside of it here. The campground I'm at does not allow connecting to trees, so run into that issue. They were very forgiving the first time I camped here because I was set up and they're like, nope, you can't do that. But they allowed it that first time, so I'm all right with that. So I've got it all set up on poles here. It wasn't actually terribly difficult to do on poles. My pole's a little bit too long on the sides here, but it does still function. I'm using I'll find the name of the poles in a moment here, but you can see it's set up pretty decent here. I do like the height of it, love the height of it. I am actually 6'5" tall, so I can actually almost stand up in it. I've actually got a lunch cooking inside here right now, so I'm trying to watch my step as I'm walking around here. It gives you an idea. The stove that I have is a Deerfamy stove, which I absolutely love. I've grown up stove camping, or with a cabin with a wood stove, for a long time. You can see my setup inside here. My bed, a little side table, stock of firewood, lunch on the stove, which I'm going to have to stir up pretty quick here. And then you can see the nice thing that I love about the Deerfamy stove, to cover up the camera there, is that it has these kind of tables on the side of it that allow you to move whatever you want. You know, I can have my water sitting here. I can have the water just ever so slightly inside of it, on the stove, which then allows, some moisture to get brought into the stove or into the tent, because it does get rather dry in here. That's nice when you're trying to dry clothes. I actually do have a line up on the top with some hanging lights, and comes in very handy for drying clothes off if you need. We've got our windows and vents. Right now it is, according to my thermometer here, I don't know if you can read it there, 29 outside, 61 inside. A little on the warmer side inside at the moment, just because we're cooking here. Alright, pause there for a second so I could get the main dish going on there. I was talking about the stove here. Like I said, absolutely love it, mainly because of the sides here that you can do stuff with. Excuse me. You do have a nice flue damper here. And you've got two vents kind of in the front of it. You can adjust the bottom or the this here, so that works quite well. You've got nice windows on the side, so you can see what's going on. That's very nice to fall asleep next to. One thing I learned with stoves, the very first time I used this, I bought one of those Deerfamy logs and figured, yeah, it's supposed to last really, really long. Yeah. It caused a lot of issues. Actually caused a whole bunch of creosote buildup inside the chimney, so much so that it ended up smoking me out in the middle of the night. That was a probably 15-degree night or so, so I really wanted to have a fire, at least a little bit of a fire going most of the night. So middle of the night, I had to try to tear the chimney apart, clean it out. By the way, for cleaning chimneys, found a really, really good trick. A toilet brush actually works very well for cleaning these chimneys out. The Deerfamy one, as you can see here, actually breaks apart into different sections and will go inside of the stove when you are done using it for packing it away. These table parts, you can see here there's a handle, so those will actually fold up and cause a nice handle, so that way you can just carry everything away. I do take that long ash pan handle off. When I was looking at stoves, a couple of the things I was looking for, there's quite the variety of them that are out there. I wanted one with an ash pan because I knew that there were going to be times where I'm going to be going long periods where I really need to keep a fire going the whole time. So with that ash pan, I can actually pull the ash pan out and find a place to dump my ashes out, and still keep the fire going at the same time. So that, I do let the fire die down when I'm doing that. You definitely don't want it roaring when you're pulling the ash pan completely out, because then it'll just keep going even longer. But so I like that about the stove. I like the fact that you've got multiple venting options, both inflow, and then you've got the flue vent. You've got the very nice edges on here. It packs up very well. It's the size of the main part of the stove, so all the stove pipes fit inside there, and it's very, very not very heavy at all for compacting down. So I'll try to get some video of it packed down when I'm done. So I'll step back outside here while that's my lunch is still cooking here. Oh, that device thing that you see there, that's just the outdoor part of the thermometer. So I've kind of got it pinned on the top of my pole there, so that way I can get an idea as to what the outdoor temp is. With the sun shining on it, probably not the most accurate, but it still gives an idea, especially overnight. Is mainly when I'm interested in the outdoor temperature. One thing that I did different this trip, actually there's two things I've done different this trip that I haven't done before. This is probably my 5th or 6th time using this tent. And this time I upgraded my tent pole, or tent stakes. I'm now using, there's the stake, just 1/4 inch by 8 inch leg bolt, or leg screws with a wash on it. And that worked amazingly well. The ground is not solid frozen, but it's definitely a little on the frozen side here today. So these went in super easy, and I expect them to come out super easy as well. So I've got enough made up for all the way around. With it being 1/4 inch, it does actually fit through the grommets. So like there, you can see it's drilled all the way into the ground. But that works really well. The second thing, this is actually the very first time I've camped with this where I have not brought a floor with me. Typically I take a tarp, and with the tarp I will set some moving blankets on it. So back inside here, instead I just have this scrap of carpet to use for when I get out of my bed, so I don't step. I still got a little bit of something. Looks like I have to sweep that off. You can see some of my other stuff here, but I actually don't mind it. Now, if it were to be like a wet weather or something, then I would definitely still go with the tarps. I'm going to be doing a longer trip coming up here pretty soon, where I'll be hot tenting it for almost 2 weeks actually. That one I'm going to bring the blanket tarps, so that way I've got a nicer floor. One thing that I do need to change out, that I don't particularly care for, underneath the stove I have a more of a rubber type material that's supposed to be under for a grill. This one's actually, I believe it's made by Weber. I don't like this one. I'm going to be looking for one that is actually made out of a fiberglass that will roll up. This one I learned, I don't see where it's at, but I did have a nice coal land on it once, and it burned right through almost immediately, and that is not the purpose that I want. I want, as you can see, I've got some dry leaves around where I'm at here. If a coal comes out, I don't want it to burn through and then ignite a leaf on. So I'm going to be upgrading that sometime here soon. I'm going to be kind of for the rest of the video here, showing some neat things that I figured out to help with hot tenting, and I'm still learning. This is the very first season I've ever hot tented. I've never had a hot tent before. I've done a lot of winter camping, lots of winter camping, but this is the first season with a hot tent, so giving it a try. But to be continued after I flip my food around here. My lunch is almost ready here, but I wanted to go through some of the stuff that I've bought that I think has been very useful in my hot tenting experience. First off, I got my little shovel. This has never even been used yet, but something that I learned. The stove, Deerfamy stove, does come with a little kind of pry bar thing. It comes in handy for lifting up the top or opening stuff up. But it's rather undersized for getting the coal out. So I bought myself a new, this was on sale, so I figured, for a few bucks only, so I figured pick that up. Got myself a new lighter. I've been using stick matches. Stick matches work wonderfully for in the stove, but figured something like this is definitely handy as well. A little bit of a torch instead. This one is made by Royal Oak. A little on the pricey side, but it's supposed to be refillable, so I'm hoping that that's good. Got myself, it's a little bit bigger than your typical hatchet, but very handy for splitting logs. I do have a full-size axe as well that I use. I got bellows for getting your midnight fires started back up when you need to. I got my toilet brush for cleaning out the pipe, the flue pipe. Actually had to use that this morning before I set stuff up. Realized I had some creosote buildup in one of the sections, so I used that to clean out the creosote. I've got my big Silky big boy. Works amazing for cutting shortening logs up when you need to. The last camp out I was at, though, pretty much every single piece of wood that I had needed to be cut, and I just got tired of cutting. So I did invest in a 6-inch chainsaw. The little bit that I've used that, it works wonderfully. Very, very, very fast. You can get through probably 4 or 5 pieces with that in the time that it takes to get through one with the big boy. Nothing against big boy at all. It definitely works well. But it's very nice to have the power tool too. I will be keeping both just because I won't necessarily always have a way to charge the battery up on the chainsaw. But I do have a full-size gas chainsaw too at home for the initial cuts. But doing stuff in the tent, it definitely is nice having that little one and makes some really good quick cuts. I had mentioned the poles earlier. The poles are actually made by Garvden Pro. Those are the poles that I'm using. I've got a couple more in the bag there for when I need to. Typically I only use it for the edge or the corner where the stove is, just to help with that. But it also, obviously when I'm freestanding here, I need it for the ends as well. Fire starters. These things are amazing. Light one, get one going, stick it in the stove. You can still hold it while it's going. It just burns on the edge of it. And then that will keep going long enough to get pretty much any type of kindling going that you've got. I do have some newspaper with, but ever since I started using those, I haven't had to touch the newspaper. They work quite well. And then I haven't had to worry at all about crumpling the newspaper up and then the newspaper dies, or it might be the newspapers absorb some moisture and then it doesn't not usable very well. So those are a few of the items that I've that help me a lot with the hot tenting here. Well, I figured to end with the final results of the lunch here. I got some potatoes with mushrooms and some pork chop. I'm not bothering with a knife. I'm just going barbarian and chewing bites off of it. But you can see with the window open here, it's let's see here. What is the temperature outside? It still is 35 outside, 60 inside. So not bad, but letting the fire die down because I'm going to be not around here pretty soon. So letting everything kind of die down, and it's going to cool off anyway. So I figured since it's going to cool off anyways, might as well have the window open while I'm sitting in here enjoying my lunch. So I hope you guys have a good one, and yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions, that's for sure.